Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mnuchin, I must say I'm a little surprised to see you here. During the time that the massive tax breaks for those at the top and the multinationals were being forced here, neither you nor any member of the administration had the courage to come and be questioned about the contradictions in that move. You refused to be questioned in public about the special deal that you cut on the enterprises for Putin's buddy Deripaska. You ignored Chairman Neal's letter to permit a reasonable time for congressional review of this shady deal, even after Congress voted to stop it here in the House. You continued to deny every request for documents from multiple congressional committees about this wrong. You did show up one time here and insisted, like today, that questioning of you be limited to a few minutes. And then with Mr. Brady's very effective protection, you managed to give no oral answer to the questions that I posed, but instead agreed that you'd supply written questions, answers to those questions in writing that I still don't have more than a year later. Let me just ask you directly, since you are fully aware that Section 6103F1 of the Internal Revenue Code reads, quote, upon written request from the chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means, the Secretary shall furnish such committee with any return or return information specified, end quote. Are you willing to provide and fulfill the command of the statute and your mandatory duty to promptly release any personal and business tax returns of President Trump that you're requested to provide?
Well, Mr. Congressman, let me first comment on the first part of that.
All right, well, I just want to be sure I get an oral answer to my question.
I will make sure I answer the end, but let me just make sure I answer the first part, which I think is highly unfair, okay? First of all, I did come and give a classified briefing to the entire
which the Speaker
Congress,
called a waste of time.
That's your view.
That's her view.
I came with experts in the Treasury to
Mr. Chairman, if the witness could be allowed to answer.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Secretary, you can give any explanation of the time, and the chairman and Mr. Brady will provide, but will you comply with the command of the statute and provide the returns under 6103? Yes or no?
I'm going to answer that, but
well, would you just answer it now? You've got 30 seconds.
The answer is I will, if I receive a request, which I presume from what I've read in the press I will receive, I will consult with the legal department within Treasury, and I will follow the law. That's my answer, Mr. Congressman, but I would like to answer the previous part, which I think—
You're welcome to do so. Have you received any instruction or guidance from anyone regarding how to handle these requests?
I'm more than happy to answer your question, but in due respect, I'd like to just finish my previous answer, which is, Mr. Chairman, I think I've worked with you on a mutual date. I was not aware of that the committee didn't think they had enough time today. I'd be more than happy to stay an extra half an hour if that's necessary so that people feel like they have the proper amount of time to ask me questions. And I believe that we've accommodated all requests from the committee, and if there's open requests on documents or anything else, Mr. Chairman, we'd be more than happy to work with you and Mr. Brady. Now, I think, was there a second part of the question I didn't answer?
Yes, sir.
On the tax return?
There was.
Let me just say something. By precedent here, the witness is always allowed to finish their answer.
Well, not last time. When I asked a question, there was no answer given.
I want to make sure I've answered all your questions.
Written answer provided.
Is there anything else I didn't answer?
Yes, sir. Have you received any instruction or guidance of any kind about how to handle congressional—
You just answered that question, Mr. Doggett.
I'm sorry. From whom?
Let the witness finish the questioning.
Have you received any instruction or guidance of any kind about how to handle congressional requests for President Trump's tax returns, and if so, from whom?
I have, because I've read this in the press, so first of all, I haven't received the request. If you have the request for me today, I'm happy to accept it. If not, if you decide in the future to deliver this, we will receive it. I can't speculate on the request until I see it. I have discussed with the legal department in the Treasury that we will most likely receive this request. And as I've said, based upon the request, we'll examine it and we will follow the law.
Thank you.
I would expect that we would— I'm not aware of there's ever been a request for an elected official's tax return, but we will follow the law and we will protect the president as we would protect any individual taxpayer under their rights.
Are you seeking advice on the meaning of the word "shall"?